just check and make sure that we're working. Crap. Hold on. Is it coming?
You can't hold on. We're live.
Well, I'm waiting for it to start. Hold on. Dramatics.
Maybe we should have done a test run before we decided to do this.
Well, it is. Oh, you know what it's doing? There we go. We're there. We're there. Hi. Okay, we are live. Hi, everyone.
Well,
Technical difficulties. I couldn't find it. I'm hopeful that the link that I sent people is working. Um, okay, it's fine. It's fine. We're having technical difficulties and um it does seem like although I thought we were going to be able to do like a link that was private, we might be doing a link that's more public, which is fine. I just
yeah.
need to like reshare the link so that people can join. Hold on. Ron, I need you to vamp while
What?
I need you to vamp while I deal with some technical difficulties here. Um,
What does vamp mean? What the hell?
hold
All
on.
right. Really should have done a test run before we started this, but hey, we'll learn. We'll learn. People will give us grace. We just kind of laying the track down as the train's going down the.
Well, so like I think what
Mhm.
happened was I'm not sure what happened, but I'm gonna try and get a new link out to our Patreon folks so that they um, know where to go because for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like our current link is working. So let's go ahead and just get started. Let me do the intro while I'm trying to do this. Welcome back, everybody. This is Don't Watch at Night, a spooky little podcast dedicated to Spanish language horror and Latin American horror. I'm your host, Valerie.
And I'm Veronica.
And we are doing our first live stream
Can you
broadcast.
tell? Can you tell?
it's it's not going super great, but it'll get better.
Hey, this is on brand for us, so we're good.
Well, like when I did the creepy cocktail hour live stream, like that went off without a hitch. So I'm not sure what I did this time around that isn't working, but um hopefully this link will take people to the live stream in progress. We'll get you to the show today. I'm sending it out to our Patreoners. Patreoners.
Patreoners.
Okay. So, uh let's go ahead and before we get into anything, Ron, I wanted to tell you about this thing that happened to me a little while like a couple weeks ago now because I every time I think about it, I relive the embarrassment all over again. So I need to unburden myself. And so I need to tell you about this thing. So a couple of weeks ago, I I- I'm part of like a neighborhood book club in our community. And it's nothing like our book club. These ladies would never go near a horror book. So they tend to read a lot of just your typical book club selection style books and really great reads,
Mm-hmm.
but not scary by any means. And they're very sweet. They're all wonderful ladies. And so a couple weeks ago, I was hosting the book club over at my house. And generally, when I have anybody over that isn't really close friends or immediate family, I tend this room that I'm in, the office,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to close off because this room, and you've been in this room, but this room has truly the creepiest collection of things all in one spot. I disperse some of my creepy stuff throughout the house, and if you're paying attention and you're focused, you can find them. They're carefully,
Interspersed
yeah,
throughout. Yeah.
interspersed and carefully stowed away. But here it's kind of just on display, and that's intentional. And so I generally close this room off because these ladies know nothing about this life. They know nothing about my creepy, they know I'm into Halloween, but they don't know to what degree. So like they were over here, we had a great evening, and then I don't even know how it came up, but I was talking about some old family photographs that I have of Alex's side that we have framed and here in the office, um and they wanted to see them, and so and like these ladies are, like I said, I've been in this club for like a year now, so we've gotten to know each other fairly well, so they're feel confident enough to just barge their way into my office, and so what I was not prepared for is, like, I have bones all over the office. I have creepy Halloween masks that I've paper mache'd. I have, if you look behind me, I have an aged resin skull. For those of you still watching this live stream, despite our technical difficulties, I have like creepy Victorian doll that I've turned into a haunted, Annabelle looking doll. I have creepy Victorian photos of old white people. So like it's a collection of weirdness. And so these ladies, one of them is a minister. One of these women in this book club is a minister. And so they just barge in here and they see all of this. And I was just like, I'm not a devil worshiper. I promise. Like I didn't say that, but I was thinking that. I was just like,
Should just say, I'm just preparing for next Halloween.
yeah,
The
is
minister's probably like, I cast you out, demon.
so yeah, that's my story. They were real gracious about it, but the shame revisits me every time I remember that. I'm like, oh God, I
No,
can't
you
believe
just should have said, I'm just preparing for next Halloween's decorations.
I'm so careful about who I let my freak flag fly in front of that I was mortified that all these women saw my freak flag at once. So anyway, that's my story. But before we get into anything else, how are you doing?
Doing good. Doing
Yeah.
good. It's Sunday,
Super
right?
Bowl
Yeah.
Sunday at the time that
Yeah.
we're recording, which I don't really care about. I care
For
about
those who
I,
care.
I'm gonna watch Kendrick Lamar performance.
I don't know
Okay.
who that is. I don't know who that is.
Okay. Well, so let's get to it then, because we have other stuff we're gonna get into. Because this is a live stream, I thought it might be fun to bring in one of our games. We always like to do our little quizzes, and so we thought, let me go ahead and subject Veronica to another one. But this one should be far easier than the book quote quiz that we did for book
Yeah, I
club.
didn't know any of those.
So this one is called Guess the Horror Movie this quote comes from. And we're going to try and do this as lightning round. So I want you to just
The
shoot,
pressure. The
shoot from
pressure.
the hip. Shoot from the hip.
My
I
hips
think
are old.
Okay,
Wait,
so
I'm not ready. Okay.
okay. Well, I mean, I
I
don't
feel
have a
pressure.
timer going. I probably should, but I don't
See,
have
now my
anything.
palms are sweaty.
Okay,
All right.
so guess the horror movie this quote comes from. Once again, I'm going to read the quote, and then I can give you multiple choice options, but some of these you're going to know. Some of these I won't need to, because you're going to, you'll know. Okay, you ready?
No, go.
Okay, all right. Here's Johnny,
The Shining.
The Shining. Okay. I see dead people.
Oh shoot, what's the name of that movie? What was the name of that movie?
Is it The Village, Signs, or Sixth Sense?
Sixth Sense. There you go.
Yes. Okay. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Jaws.
Jaws. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Do I know that one? So the options are The Fly, Carrie, or Child's Play. I don't know if I know
Be
that.
afraid. Be very afraid. The Fly, Carrier, Child's Play.
Just guess.
I don't-
Guess. Shoot from the hip.
The Fly. I don't know.
Okay.
Child's
You're
Play.
correct. You're correct.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. It's alive. It's alive.
The
Is it
Blob.
Dracula?
No, Frankenstein.
Yes, that's correct. Okay.
The Blob.
Okay. Ooh, okay. What have you done to his eyes? Is it from Rosemary's Baby, Jeepers Creepers, or Candyman? Shoot, shoot, shoot.
Candyman?
Candyman? No, it's Rosemary. Actually, I was going to get it wrong too. I was going to say Jeepers Creepers. It's Rosemary's Baby.
Well, I knew it wasn't Jeepers Creepers. And it's been a long time since I've seen Candyman. Okay.
Do you like scary movies? Is it I Know What You Did Last Summer, It, or Scream?
Scary movies. Scream?
Yes, correct. Okay. I'm this one. Oh, wait, I could guess. Okay. I'm your number one fan. Is it American Psycho, Misery?
Misery.
Okay. Yep. And they're here.
Poltergeist.
Let's see. To a New World of Gods and Monsters. This could be Bride of Chucky, Bride of Frankenstein, or The Nun.
To a
I didn't
New
see The
World
Nun.
of Bride. Wait, what was the quote again? To a new world
To a
of,
new world of gods and monsters.
and the choices were
Bride of Chucky, Bride of Frankenstein, or The Nun.
Bride
I
of
saw
Frankenstein.
I saw Bride of Frankenstein. I don't remember. That's correct. I don't remember that line. Okay. Here's another quote. I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Is it Bram
Silence of
Stoker?
the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs, yes. Okay, and we all go a little mad sometimes. Is it American Psycho, Psycho, or Midsommar?
I never saw American Psycho.
I don't think it's American Psycho. I don't know. I think it's Psycho.
Psycho? No, I don't even want to guess.
Psycho, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Was it right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh,
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
I would, yes, but I don't know. The quote doesn't sound
Is it Us, Hereditary, or The Witch?
I've never seen any of those.
It's The Witch. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Here's any other quote. Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering. Is it Hellraiser, Saw, or Tusk? I never saw any of those because I don't
Oh, that's I
like.
never even heard.
I'm gonna.
I'm gonna guess
Yeah.
it's either Hellraiser or Saw.
Okay. I'm
Which one?
Hellraiser. Hellraiser. You can go with
Hellraiser.
your first guess. That's correct. Okay.
Ah,
Here's another one. I'm scared to close my eyes. I'm scared to open them. Is it From the Gallows, The Blair Witch Project, or Unfriended? I don't think it's Blair Witch.
I don't think it was Blair Witch either, and I never seen the other two.
Rapid fire guess.
The Gallows.
Oh man, it was the Blair Witch Project.
It was. I don't remember
I don't
that.
remember that line. Okay, okay, here comes another one. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Oh God, that sounds.
Night of the
familiar.
Living Dead, The Exorcist, or Amityville Horror. That's not Amityville Horror. I know that movie pretty well.
Yeah.
Is there a Barbara in Night of the Living Dead? That's your movie. You should know.
I don't think
Just
it
guess.
is.
Just guess.
What
Don't
was
think.
the first
Night
option?
of the Living Dead, The Exorcist, or Amityville Horror?
Exorcist. I'm gonna go with. I don't
Nope,
know.
it was Night of the Living Dead.
Ah, dang.
Okay, we are
Doesn't sound
13
like-
out of 16.
That's not bad.
You scored better than 78% of all other quiz takers.
Well, I haven't seen some of those movies. So,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in my defense. Okay. That wasn't too bad. Okay, that's over.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can.
Stress.
Well, thank you. You've won the game.
What's my prize? I want a cookie.
All right. Well, I guess you can take it away. You can take us into the movie discussion if you're.
All
if you're ready.
right. So this month, whatever. For this podcast, the movie we watched was Errementari, also known as the Devil and the Blacksmith, or is it the Blacksmith and the Devil? Anyway, that's what it
Blacksmith
is.
and the Devil. Yeah,
Blacksmith
I got
and
it
the Devil.
confused. Yeah.
Movie came out in 2017. Has a runtime of 1 hour and 38 minutes. Sweet spot. Thank you so much. And it was directed by, let me see, it was directed by Paul, and apologies if I mispronounced this name, Paul Urquijo Alijo, but produced by Alex de la Iglesia, and stars, our main characters, Candido, I can't read my writing, Candido Uranga, who plays Paxti the blacksmith, Uma oh good lord, Uma Bracaglia, who played the unsinkable Usue, Eneko Sagarde, who played Sartael, Jose Ramon Argoitia, who played Father Mateo, Josean Bengosi, who played Santi. Had to Google how to pronounce that one because I was like, no way. Ramon Aguirre, who played Alfredo, and Aitor Urselay, who played Benito. And so our little tagline: in a quiet village is thrown into turmoil upon disturbing a reclusive and feared blacksmith rumored to be in league with the devil. So, and this is a movie that, and I did not know this, because at first when it started, I was like, I thought this was a Spanish movie, but it didn't sound like any Spanish I'd ever heard. But it's actually the Basque language, so which was pretty cool. Yeah, I understood none of it. So Valerie, initial impressions of the movie. When did you watch it? First of all, you usually watch it early, but not this time.
I think I watched it like 2 days. Like I think I watched it Friday night.
Okay.
Or no. I watched it Saturday morning. Yeah, I watched it Saturday morning. You know what? I actually I enjoyed it. I have to be honest, I had never heard of this movie, and I went into it with really low expectations. I don't know, really, I'm not really sure why, but yeah, I did watch the trailer though, and it really obviously gave good, strong, what's the word I'm looking for? Pan's Labyrinth vibes.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So, so yeah, by the end of the movie, I was actually pretty pleased. What did you think about it?
Same. I just watched it last night. I probably started around 8 p.m. And you guys know me. I never read anything about the movie. I never watch the trailer, so I always go in completely blind. But yeah, I really liked it too. So and like you, the first thing that came to mind was like it was reminiscent of like Pan's Labyrinth and Legend, that old Tom Cruise Mia Sarah movie.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, 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 it did remind me of Legend.
yeah, it kind of had that, dark fable, dark fairy tale quality. And I really liked it. And we can get into more of the specifics of why and the things that I like. But yeah, so I was like very pleased. So we're like 2 for 2 for movies for the 2025. So far, they've both been really good movies, really good picks, Valerie. Good, solid picks.
Veronica, dear, we've watched 3 movies.
Okay. What was the third one?
So we did Cronos, we did Los Ojos de
Okay.
Julio. This is the 3rd one.
Okay.
So
Well, let me have my moment.
Hey, by the way, that reminds me, I texted Veronica last night. We now have, because Ronnie was like, "I need a database where all of the
Yes,
movies are that we watched."
clearly,
So
because I
so
can't keep
I
track.
I am gonna do that for us on a private level, but for all of you, we do have a letterboxed list that's public over on Letterboxd, and we'll share that link in our show notes so that you can see every movie that Don't Watch at Night has covered that we have an episode on. So, and that'll includes the movies that aren't Spanish language, and it includes our Halloween bonus episodes that we did. So Pumpkinhead and Motel Hell, and anytime we have a bonus episode like that,
Ed
go
Harley.
Ed Harley. Um, we do have some people in the chat, so
Yay!
yay, so that's good. Let's see. So yeah, I don't know if you had anything in particular you wanted to start with, or if you want me to go, like particular highlights, lowlights, what have you.
I just liked kind of the way the movie just kind of came full circle beginning because we start off with this omnipotent narrator whatever kind of starting off the story about how this extremely cruel and just bad blacksmith
Hmm.
and then at the end it kind of wraps back around to where well this is how that story started. um but it was interesting because that first little intro where the narrator is kind of setting up the story and setting up your expectations for the story, and as the movie progresses and you get to see the characters in action and you kind of realize well that was kind of an unreliable narrator to start with, and it just kind of really sinks into that idea of a lot of times preconceptions can be misconceptions,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so you can't just go by you got to make up your own mind. You got to
yeah.
you got to make up your own mind about people.
I liked the I like the folk tale. I did so I can't. You may have already just said this. I'm trying to do like multiple things at once. I'm like manning the chat. I meant so I may have not paid attention, but this being based off of the old folk tale, The Smith and the Devil.
Hmm.
So I liked. I love folklore. I from wherever it comes from.
You
I
like
love it.
folk horror in general.
Yeah. So, and the story of this smith who makes a pact with a malevolent being. It's kind of, I went digging around for more information on the Smith and the Devil, and I didn't really find anything. I didn't really find a whole lot other than what I just said. But there are similar tales in from other places in the world. There's the German legend that also involves a pact with the devil called Faust. And then there's a Polish legend similarly involves a deal with the devil. It's called Twar- Sir Twardowski. I don't know. But yeah, so there's variations of this legend e- everywhere. So, and I was telling
Well,
Ronnie,
I even remember as a kid there was. I think it was like an animated movie or an animated like 30-minute an animated show, like not a long running show, but just like a I think it was a movie. It's called The Devil and Daniel Webster, where like this Daniel Webster makes a deal with the devil in order to become, like a rich and famous musician. And so and I'm gonna have to now go look that up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I liked that element of it. And yeah, very strong Pan's Labyrinth kind of setting. This is taking place. The opening of the movie is like what, late
1835.
1800s,
1835.
1835.
And then, yeah, and then it picks up like 8 years later. So,
Yes,
well, do the math. I'm not going to do the math. 1840 something.
1840 something. Yeah. So yeah, and this is like coming off the heels of the is it Carlist War?
Carlist Wars.
Carlist War, and so this Smith, whose name do we ever even learn his name?
Baxti.
Baxty, that's right. So he's on his way back from the war, comes back. So, and we'll get all of this backstory the further you progress into the movie, but he comes back to his wife only to find that his wife had moved on with another man, believing that he had died at war.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't like she cheated on him. She just thought he was gone and she moved on, found comfort in the arms of another man, had a baby, and he comes back and is all enraged by that. And so that's one of the things that I appreciated about the movie. Um, I like that he kind of already is this tortured soul who's not entirely pure. He's not entirely without fault or without
Mm-hmm.
a sense of wrongdoing. He does do harm in the movie. He's not entirely good. So I thought that kind of rounded out the character really well, because in the movie he becomes enraged when he finds this out. He kills the man that she's had an affair with, and um she was almost going to kill the baby. So
Mm-hmm.
and we forgot to say up top, one thing to know about this movie, if you haven't seen it yet, and it is available on Netflix, is it does touch on
Oh, yeah.
the theme of suicide. So just
Mm-hmm.
know that going in. Um, and that's sort of a trigger warning is
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah.
But the thing is that with his backstory, so to speak, we don't, as the audience, learn about that until like almost the very end of the movie. So you're having to make up your mind about him
Hmm.
as the
Hmm.
movie's progressing, but you're getting the stories that the villagers say, because he's pretty much a hermit. He's kind of walled himself off away from the village. It's not a big village to start with. It's a poor
Right.
village, and he's got like this fence or wall around his property that has like all these spikes on it. There's crosses all over it. It's
Crosses
locked.
everywhere. Yeah.
And initially you don't know, well, who put that up? Did the villagers put that up to keep him away, or did he put that up to keep people out? And you're just kind
Hmm.
of picking up throughout the movie the villagers, legend about the blacksmith, that he's mad, he's crazy, he killed his wife. So you're kind of, that's informing your opinion of him. And then, did you like the very first time that we see him, when Santi and those two other idiots go uh to his house, and they're trying to
You
get him
talking
to
about the
come
little
out?
boys? The little boys? No,
No,
the men.
no. Yeah,
Okay.
when the men go, because they found that letter and about the gold, and so they want
That's
to
right.
go. And he comes out, and
Hmm.
he, has his interaction with them, and it's not peaceful. But did that scene, in how he responded to those three men, did that inform your opinion, or start to change your opinion of, oh, he's mad, he's crazy, he's violent, he's
I want to
the
make sure I
murderer?
understand which scene you're talking about. Are you talking about the one where one of those men falls in the bear trap?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
I because that dude falls in the bear trap,
Mhm.
he frees that dude, and then that dude promptly falls in another bear trap and like
Yeah.
is offed. Because of how he responded, I thought, oh, okay, this is a situation where we've just misunderstood this character and he's
Mhm.
being portrayed to be evil and sinister, and he's really not. Because like
Because he even let the other two guys go. He was
he
like,
let
"Get
the
out
other
of
two
here."
guys go and he freed that guy. Like he wasn't out to
Yeah.
kill that guy. That was just a
Mhm.
freak accident that happened. Um, that kept happening with it, with other people in the movie that we'll uncover talk about. But yeah, so like
Yeah.
my understanding at that point was like, okay, he he's not he's not evil. He's
Or
just
he's not totally what the stories say
what
he
they're
is.
portraying him to
Yeah.
be. And I don't remember if at that point in the movie we had a full understanding of what had happened with his wife. So like I wasn't even willing to believe at that point that he was responsible for, because there are people in the village who believe he hung her
Mhm.
and she hung herself, right?
Mhm.
So like I wasn't even really necessarily ready to believe that he had any involvement with that, because I was just like, no, that doesn't seem like our guy. So
Yeah, same, same. I was starting to think, because like that beginning intro where the narrator person is talking about how, Blacksmith is so cruel, he's so, violent, and even the devil fears him, and to even make a deal with the devil, right? That automatically puts an idea in your head, okay, like what kind of person would
right,
willingly make a deal with the devil? So you kind of go in with this setup of, okay, the blacksmith is going to be the bad guy. The blacksmith is going to be, the monster of the movie,
right,
if you will. And then, yeah, when that scene, when we actually first finally meet him, and um, he does, he doesn't try to kill the men. He defends himself, and he says, "Get out of here," and he
yeah.
lets them go. And then, of course, that guy, frees him from the bear trap or animal trap. So yeah, at that point, I was like, okay, well, something's amiss here. Something's not. The math is not mathing. Um,
And so at this point, I don't we if we haven't met her yet, we're about to meet her, the little girl.
mhm.
How do you say her name?
Usue.
Usue.
Yeah,
Usue.
we have met her. We
Yeah, we
have
have
met
met
her
her.
at this
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
we have met her. We know her personally. No, we have met her in the story. Yes. What did you think of that actress? I thought, I like,
I really liked her. She was just feisty. She didn't take crap from anybody. We very quickly learned she's an orphan. Her mother apparently killed herself, and this kind of makes her a target of bullying from the other villager kids.
and they say really really mean
Yeah,
things to
mean
her,
things.
and just sort of talk about, like, this is a very religious community. Everybody goes to mass. The expectation is that you're sitting in the church, for mass, everyone. And
Mhm.
so they are not they do not spare her feelings when they discuss what the way her mother died, and like what that must mean for her in terms of, you know purgatory, hell, all of those things, all of the things
Mm.
that religion dictates to us. So anyway,
Yeah.
go on. Yeah.
So yeah, she's just um now with her mother, because we do learn that her mother killed herself, and so everybody tells her your mom's burning in hell, which, what a horrible thing to say to a child.
Right. In
Uh,
general.
and then there's also the stories that that the blacksmith's wife, he killed her or she hung herself. So I think for me anyway, it became pretty obvious that somehow
They were
Usue's
connected.
mother and his wife were one and the same. So I don't think that was a big, huge mystery
Yeah.
that was hanging over.
No, yeah. And I mean, like, initially I was thinking, well, this is his daughter. And then we come to find out, no, like, but
Well, I was
initially,
trying to do the math because, like, okay, he was in the war uh, 8 years ago, and then this picks up, uh, and she, I guess, looked to be about 8 years old. So I was thinking, okay, if he's the father, she either got pregnant like right when he left, or this is some other man's baby,
mhm.
since then. So I was like, it could go either way.
And so you have this situation where it's like she's an outcast in the community because of that, because
Hmm.
of, she's an orphan, and the manner in which she was orphaned. And then you have him as another outcast. And so there's going to be an inherent sense of commonality between these two that they're going to find over time. And I kind of liked that. I liked that element of it. I mean, yeah, yeah, you go. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that, and so the way that Usue kind of crosses paths with this hermit blacksmith, who's kind of kept separate from everybody else in the village, is so she has like this little doll that looks like it's kind of made a homemade doll made out of like corn
Corn
husks,
husks. Yeah.
and Benito, who is one of the village boys, who is kind of a bully and one of the children that kind of torments her. Um, he takes the doll and rips its head off and throws the head over the wall, the blacksmith's, wall.
Hmm.
Um, and so later on in the movie, she decides, and this comes after a confrontation where, uh, I guess she's kind of in the care. She's a ward of the church, I guess, because she's under Father Mateo's care, and the lady, I don't know if it's like someone that works for him. I never caught her name. Um,
I don't pay attention to names at all. Like I'm amazed you caught the name of the boy. I'm like the boy.
Benito. Um, and she's just, was asked, in her innocent childlike way, she's asking, like, do you really think my mother's in hell, and is there any way for her to get out of hell? And the priest is just like, no, that's just, there's no changing that, she's there forever. And so she decides to, and I kind of feel like she decides to go find her doll's head, and I kind of took that as kind of like, this is the only thing that she can be proactive about. It's the only thing that she can control. Everything else in her life is up to other people.
Hmm.
And anytime one of the other kids tease her or bully her, she defends herself. She kicks Benito in the
She
family jewels,
she
and
punches him in the nose.
she punches him in the nose, and good for her. And then when some other girls are teasing her, she slaps them. And so, but she's always kind of reacting, right? She's always reacting to things that other people are trying to impose on her. So I kind of saw her, going off because she has to be scared, right? She's heard all the stories about the blacksmith, and
Mhm.
just the wall itself visually is intimidating.
Right.
But she decides she's gonna push through that. She's gonna go back. She's gonna go in there, and she's gonna find her doll's head. And I just kind of saw that as a very, she's a strong ass little girl, right?
Yeah,
Because then
yeah.
I just saw that as, this is something that she can take charge of, that she can control, and that so yeah, that was my
Yeah,
impression of Usui.
she's kind of fearless, and while she's there is where she's fooled. She thinks that she uncovers a little boy locked away in
Hmm.
a cage that the blacksmith is hurting, and we very quickly come to figure out that that is in fact not a little boy at all. It is a demon who
And I was
reveals his
suspicious at
demon
first.
form.
I was suspicious at first because I was like, that old uh thing where you would hear the devil can take many forms, and I was thinking, no, so I don't. Just
Well, okay, because
wait.
like this is one of the things I wanted to talk about because I wanted to ask you what you thought of that demon. His name is
Sartael.
Sartael.
Hmm.
Um, what did you think of him? Goober, bumbling goober of a demon.
Well, he comes off initially, like he's gonna be pretty, pretty scary, pretty mean.
Pretty
And then as the movie
sinister.
goes on, I was, he was kind of, he was funny,
He was
and
funny.
I really came to like Sartayo. And I was like,
God
you kind
bless
of
it.
find out,
That
you
man
kind of,
can't. That demon can't navigate a bear trap.
nope, and you kind of find out that he's kind of low, I think, on the
In the
hell in this movie is kind of bureaucratic, right? So they've
right.
got like levels of demons, and you come to find out initially he comes off as kind of scary and intimidating, and then you kind of find out he's kind of low on the totem pole, and he's fallen to fall even lower. He's been demoted because he hasn't been able to, collect on the blacksmith's soul.
Well, so
So
this was the other thing I wanted to
he was
ask
difficult.
you. But yeah, like the dude Sartel cannot every single time he attempts to escape cannot get past the bear traps, and it's just like get it together, sir. Like when are you look down where you're
Yes.
walking. But
I really appreciated the humor in this movie. There were moments of humor which I like.
yeah, like the way the villagers talk to each other and the way they just like smack each other in the back of the head left and right. And it's always a very exaggerated sound effect, like
Yeah.
when they do it. But I wanted to ask you, like, how quickly did you surmise that the government dude, the ministry dude who's there
Mm.
to conduct an investigation, when did you put two and two together that like he's one of the demons or he's somebody, he's not on the up and up? Did you
I didn't think he was a demon until he actually walked up to Sartael in the cage and says, something to the effect of, "Look at you, you're pathetic. Look how far you've fallen." I was suspicious of him,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't know why. I think just because he was a government agent, which you know, the government agent is really a demon in disguise. Is there some hidden meaning there? I'm sure. Um, but yeah, I didn't think he was going to be a demon until
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
curious about like what was the letter? Was he really after the gold? Was there even
Right.
really gold, or was that just a ruse
Yeah.
to get in there?
I think I started to become a little bit suspicious of him as being a demon of some kind when it just in the scenes where he starts whipping the crowd into a frenzy and
Hmm.
where he's adamant that we have to go back. We have to for reasons that didn't necessarily add up. Like it's just like you don't need to go back that badly. Why do you want to go back so badly? And then that was when it became clear to me. It's like, oh, he wants to go and find Paxthi and deal with this demon himself. Like
Hmm.
which just sort of made me think, okay, well, if he knows about the demon, and then he potentially might also be one himself as well. Um, and then like the way that Sartael kept saying, "We leave no loose ends," and then
Hell leaves no loose
what is
ends.
that? So when he finally the ministry guy when he finally unveils himself to be a demon as well, what is his demon name?
Alastor.
Alastor. Okay. I thought his reveal was pretty cool. Like
Yeah,
the
he was.
special effects in this movie are pretty well done. This was like what, 2017?
Yeah,
So this was like 10 years after Pan's Labyrinth came out. But yeah, I mean, the underworld hell. I thought those scenes were pretty well done. Um, the practical effects were good. Uh, when we get to the underworld, wasn't one of those demons? Didn't he have a face where his butt was supposed to be?
literal
Like
butt face.
the
Well, he had
literal
two
butt face,
faces. He had like a
the
face
face.
on his head, and then on his ass, he had another.
He had another face. I thought that was pretty. Those were great. Those moments were
Yeah,
great.
the the variety in demons that
The
we had.
variety of demons, the Alastor when he's a massive demon when you
Mm,
fully see him. I just thought the effects in this movie are worth seeing because
mm.
it's pretty nice. What else did you what other things did you
Well, to go back to humor for a minute, do you remember this line, Valerie? No, not the chickpeas.
Not the chickpeas. I didn't get it at first. Is that a thing? Is that truly a thing? That it
I've
must be.
maybe. I mean, I've heard about it with,
Tell the
and
people
this
what
is
we're talking about, by the way.
because Sarthel's in the cage and he's just ranting and raving about how, oh, I'm gonna kill you, blah 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 blah. And so Baxty, the blacksmith, takes a jar of chickpeas and throws them on the ground because apparently demons are OCD, and so they're compelled to like stop whatever they're doing and they have to count. And so he would start counting the chickpeas, and then Paxty would like mess him up again, and he'd have to start again. And so, which I've heard, and this was just an X Files episode where they had
Okay.
vampires on that episode, and Fox Mulder also like threw rice or something on the ground, and or no, it was untied shoelace. There was something in that episode that was OCD that would compel the vampire to have to stop and attend to it, and to the oblivion of everything else going on around him. So yeah, that was just that was just funny. I laughed.
I wish
That
I
should be
wish
on a shirt. That should be up there with I'm the bat. I'm the bat.
not the chickpeas. I wish our mom was on this live stream because like she might know. Our mother has all kinds of weird information at the core of her fingertips. But yeah, like because it comes up, they do it more than once, obviously. Like they throw the chickpeas down, he has to count them. It's a distraction. The ringing of the bells, particularly if it's a blessed bell,
Hmm.
drives them insane. So I thought the moments of humor were well done because otherwise, like I felt bad for Sartel when they're both the little girl and Paxi are jabbing him with pokers and stuff like that. It's just like leave the poor dude alone. But it's
And
funny.
what did you think about that scene? Because I was uncomfortable with that scene, even though at this point I hadn't. I think that was the first time in the movie that I started to feel bad for Sartael, because up until then I was thinking, okay, he's the demon from hell, and should feel sorry for a demon from
Right.
hell. But in that moment I was like, okay, this
Yeah, well,
is
yeah, it's
going a
it's
bit
it's
far.
it's excessive because it feels excessive. It's like, okay, we
Like
get it. Every
he's
night you torture
caged.
him. We don't need to like, at this point you're just being mean. So, but yeah, I mean, you feel you feel sympathy for the demon and you think but the bumbling ways in which he is bring levity to those moments because otherwise, yeah, it would just be it's just you watching them torture him.
But it is
So,
worth noting that she does, after doing it for a few minutes, she does like start to feel bad herself, Usue.
yeah, yeah.
And but I think it highlights human nature, which even though, even if you give power to someone who's been oppressed or an oppressed group of people, that it's pretty common to see that that oppressed group to then also oppress
Oh, yeah.
other people,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like that whole option, that whole notion of that power can corrupt. And even though she's been bullied her whole life, in this
Mhm.
moment where she's in a position of power because Sartael is caged and can't get out and can't really defend himself,
Right.
she gives in for a little bit to that moment of, okay, now I have power and now I'm gonna bully
Yeah.
you, I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
glad that she pulled back from that and she even apologized to Sartael. I'm sorry I hurt you. And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
thought that
And
was nice.
it, like uh at a certain point in the movie we do get to a place where we do get more of Paxley's backstory. And so we do learn the full story that,
Hmm.
yes, like I said at the beginning, he comes home, he discovers that his wife has moved on. Enraged, he kills the man, and then almost, lowers the baby into a fire. And I guess this is what has resulted in because throughout the whole movie,
Usue. Oh,
Usue
that's right. Yeah, she does have the scar.
has a burn scar on her face that we never really is never explained, but I took it to mean, okay, as a baby he held her over the fire and that's what that's about. He has a change of heart and he delivers the baby to Father Mateo to raise, and but that's all after his wife takes her life. So I don't know, like seeing all of that kind of made sense for the end of the movie where we do see Baxley atoning and making the decision that he makes. So,
Because he
um,
does realize, because Usue has, tied around her doll a scarf that
mhm,
belonged to her mother. And at some point, Baxley, finds the doll's head and returns it to her. And he sees the scarf, recognizes it, and so realizes that this is the baby that so he knows that it's his wife's baby by another man. And even knowing that, like you said, he
yeah.
chooses in the end to sacrifice it because Usui, and we can talk about that scene. What do you think about that scene where, actually that's two good scenes. So this, let me back up a little bit. So the
Okay.
scene where Father, Alastor has revealed himself, or no, it's Sartael in the
Mhm.
cage, and Father Mateo sees him, and he sees this as an opportunity to, like, oh, I'm going to take you to the Vatican. You're the proof of faith, and
Yeah.
and all these, attention and whatever riches will be granted to me because I will be the one to have brought you in. And I thought it was real poignant how Sartael tells him something to the effect of, I don't think I wrote down the quote exactly, but something to the effect of, I've seen the price of your soul and it's not worth a fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good line.
Yeah. So just kind of, I think in a lot of places the movie kind of prodded at kind of the hypocrisy that can sometimes happen with man run religion, where man
Right.
has kind of distorted religion to serve their own ends. And
Yes, sorry.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Sartael sees that the price of the Father Mateo's soul is just, you know, attention,
Mhm,
acclaim,
mhm,
kind
mhm.
of all that materialistic
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. That's very
So
true. Yeah. It was a good line. What scene like this the 2 scenes that you're talking about, that scene and then the scene where Usue makes the decision that she makes?
Yeah, because she
She
goes to Father Mateo,
she
and
makes a deal with
well, because
Alastor, right?
she I forget what she asks Father Mateo, and again, I think it's she's just looking for reassurance about her mother in hell, and Father Mateo just responds just with violence. I mean, he
Right.
just basically calls her stupid and calls her mother a whore, and so Usue is basically like I've had it with all of your crap, and so she turns and she walks up to Alisor, who's in his big, huge, monstrous demon form, and or no, I think he was still in his man form. Yeah, he was still in his man form, government agent human form, and she basically says, I've had it with these idiots, these hypocrites, and who treat me with nothing but disdain, and I'd rather go be in hell with my mother. Can
Right.
you take me there? And so
Yes.
then that's when Alistor reveals his huge
That's right.
demonic
That's right.
self.
Right.
And
And takes her, presumably takes her life, and goes into hell with her. And so then Baxty makes the decision that he goes and he talks to Sartael, and he
mhm,
makes a decision that he needs Sartael to take him into hell, with the idea, I guess, that he's going to somehow bring her back, which I didn't know you could do.
yeah.
But I'm like,
But it makes
okay.
sense because she didn't do anything to deserve being in hell, right? Like,
Right, right. So but I guess that's the idea, is that they're planning to send him into hell with the
mhm,
idea that he can bring her back. And so he makes that decision. And this is where I talk about him kind of coming to a place of atoning and recognizing that she doesn't belong there. I belong there, or whatever. Like, I made a deal, and I certainly did things that would put me there. So if I can take her place, then I shall. And
mhm.
so, but I guess what I wanted to ask you is, like, do you think his plan was to somehow once again outwit the devil, outwit the demons, and come back because he takes the big blessed
Mm.
bell?
I was really hoping, because here's what I would wanted to see. I wanted to see like a sitcom with Usue, Paxti, and Sartael, just all three of them living together.
Somewhere in the enchanted forest.
Yes, that's what I wanted. I didn't get it, but that's what I wanted to see come out.
But
So yeah, I was hoping.
do you think that that's, like, what we're left to think is, like, because he goes into hell, and this is where we get those cool scenes of the underworld, the demons, the butt face.
Yeah.
And he throws the chickpea. He does find Usue down there. They are reunited, and he throws the jar of chickpeas down, and the big, huge Alastor has to, like, bend down and start counting them. And then he sends Usue, like, they hug. He tells her, "You have to go back." Sartael is going to take her back. And Sartael has said, "Let's leave now before I change my mind." Like, this is Sartael's arc, where
Yeah.
he becomes,
Even a demon can have a redemption arc.
even the demon can have a hero moment. So he's taking her back, and you see Paxthi load up the bell on his back and start barging forward for the gates of hell. And so I
Mhm.
was just thinking, is he gonna ring the bell and drive them all mad and fight his way back from hell? Because that'd be cool, but we don't see it. Do you think
Yeah,
that's what happened?
I do because when when Sartael, he brings Usue out back into the mortal living world, and I thought this was a cool moment too for him, where he says, "Hey, this girl is a saint. She's so much a saint that hell kicked her out. Hell didn't want her." So he puts that layer of protection over her so that these villagers will
People will
not,
leave her alone.
yeah,
Yeah,
they will
stop
not bully
tormenting her.
her. They will not bully her anymore. And then he goes off and he assumes a human form, and he hitches a ride with some random dude in a
Yeah.
wagon, and the guy's like, "Tell me a story because it's a long way to the next village." And so he's like, "Well," and he starts, with the exact same wording that started off with the movie. So I think that's where the whole the whole notion that, oh, this blacksmith is so cruel and blah blah blah, is like, because he's kicking ass in hell, and the devil, he is tormenting all the devil and all these demons with the bell. And so
Yeah.
I think that's where that part of the story comes from,
That's cool.
is
I like it.
because,
It's
yeah,
good. It's good. It's a
I
good
would like
movie.
to know that. Well, I guess he wouldn't get out of hell.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's part of his atonement, like, he'll never leave hell, but he sure is gonna make it hell for all of the
For
demons
yeah.
there. So,
So yeah, that's why I thought it was cool that it kind of looped back to that's where that part of the legend comes from is because it's not because he was cruel and
yeah,
in life
yeah.
necessarily. It's he's kicking ass down under.
Right, yeah. No, it was
Mm.
cool. It was
But I
like
did want to see him and Usue and Baxty just kind of all living together happily ever after.
and you kinda wonder, like, where Sarthael goes from here because 'cause he'd had it with it. Like, he didn't wanna go back to hell because he had been demoted. He's like,
Yeah.
"I'm never going back to hell," and so, yeah, he's just gonna continue to cause mischief in in human world, so,
Mhm.
um
Now, what did you think? Because the subtitles for the very last line was like something like "Get in the pumpkin and get out at the
Yeah,
square."
I
It
didn't
was
get
like
that.
it
What
was
was
really
that?
bizarre. Well, I was looking it up because I was thinking it was some kind of like idiom that the literal translation doesn't make sense, but it really means something else. So I just kind of
Mhm.
went online and was trying to find. All I could find was on Reddit. Um, Several people said that it's just the typical way that most Basque fables, fairy tales, whatever, end. And it's basically, and they all lived happily ever after, which
Oh.
doesn't really, I mean, it fits for Usue, it can fit for Sartayel, doesn't necessarily fit for Paxti. And then someone else said that the meaning, what it's supposed to mean, is just basically um, something like, what is it? Did I write it? Something like, oh, you should never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Is kind of
Oh.
basically the um,
Yeah, yeah.
which I think fits better with because
What was
that's kind of the nature of fables, right? It's like
what's the thing that
yes.
what was the line again? Something pumpkin? What did it
I
say?
didn't write it exactly, but it was something like if you get
Get
in the
in
pumpkin, get out at the square.
yeah, get in the pumpkin, get out of the square.
I
It
mean, it was
didn't make
something.
sense, but it was just like I guess from a Cinderella standpoint, if we're talking about fables and folk tales, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
get buy into the fairy tale.
yeah.
So yeah, it was really if you haven't seen it, it was really cool. I don't know if were there other moments. I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Were there other moments you wanted to talk about?
Well, I also
Um,
just really another little thing that kind of stood out to me is like there's several instances in the movie where characters will say, and it's usually when they're talking to either Usue, and then also when Alistar is talking to Sartael and telling him about his demotion, is they say the line, destiny is written. So like
yeah,
basically your fate is your fate. And I'm
right.
like, but yet throughout the whole movie with Usue and Baxti and Sartael, we see them making not accepting that they're making decisions to change
Mhm.
fate, right?
Mhm.
So to borrow a line from the Terminator franchise, no fate but what we make. So like
Ooh,
we
yeah,
make our own fate, and so
right.
we see Usua do that with decisions that she makes, and Baxti and Sartael in their
Mhm.
redemption arcs. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I just kind of like that kind of
Yeah.
aspect of it. Like they're
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to accept what you say
Yeah.
my life has to be or what my fate has to be.
It was good.
I'm gonna choose this as a path.
It
So
was
yeah,
good. It was good. Yeah.
good movie.
One thing to so did you see this? This was his feature debut. This director. This was his like debut film. He's the Paul.
Paul. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you also connect the dots that Alex de la Iglesia is the one who directed The Day of the Beast, which we covered?
Mm-mm.
Okay. The Day of the Beast. We have an episode for those of you who have seen that movie. We have an episode. When did we watch that? We watched that over Christmas.
I'm trying to remember which movie
The Day of
that
the
was.
Beast. Remember, it was the goofy Christmas horror movie.
Oh, the priest.
The priest
The priest that's trying to commit
with his
sin.
harebrained
Okay.
idea to save the world by committing as much sin as he can. So yeah, he and Alex de la Iglesia has actually backed a number of other directors this way. So that's nice. You know, he's
Yeah.
lifting others up. And so this was this guy's debut, won the audience award for best feature at the 2017 San Sebastian Horror and Fantasy Film Fest. And then, yeah, Ronnie and I were texting about this morning. Like this folk tale and variations of it. is old, old, old. There's a BBC article that I came across that we'll link for you guys in show notes, where they talk about some researchers have estimated this tale, Smith and the Devil, to date back to the Bronze Age, so like 6,000, over 6,000 years old. So that's pretty awesome.
Mm.
And I thought it was a really great movie.
Yeah, really good movie. It's not a scary movie, so if you're
No.
looking for like jump scares or like really like horror, this is not it.
No.
But it is like a dark fairy tale. And yeah, it's got humor. I want a shirt that says "No, not the chickpeas" on it.
No, not the chickpeas. Not the chickpeas.
So it has moments of humor, and it's got that love. You see redemption arcs, and yeah, just a good movie. So if you're looking for something in that vein,
Yeah.
definitely check it out. Hopefully you've seen it, because otherwise we spoiled a lot of it for you. But
Right. We tend to forget. You do a better job remembering than I do. Anytime that I intro a film, I always forget to say spoilers ahead. But it's the year 2025. If you're listening to a movie podcast, then understand there's going to be spoilers.
It did come out in 2017, so
Yeah,
in our defense.
But
yeah, really good movie.
A really, really good one. It's on Netflix. If you haven't seen it yet, do go see it and let us know what you thought.
The first movie in the Basque. And you know what? Because I was looking up stuff about the Basque language. Where the hell did I write it? Hold on.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it wasn't going to be in Spanish either. So when the movie started, I was like, I'm not catching any of these words. And then I was like, oh, it's not in Spanish.
Yeah. So the Basque language, I did not even know this. The Basque language, so it's really just spoken in that region of the Pyrenees Mountains that kind of covers like northern Spain and southern France. So, and it's the only remaining isolate language in Europe, which means that it's a language that it's not related to any other language. Like it's its own separate thing. And so it's only spoken by, what was it? Which I thought was cool, because I'd never heard the Basque language. So I was like, what language is that? I thought this was a Spanish movie, but
yeah.
Well, I don't know. My computer's not pulling up.
That's cool.
But yeah, so it's the only isolate language left in Europe.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And the director is Basque country born Paul. I don't know how you say it. Paul, you said it. How did you pronounce it?
I probably didn't say it very well. Paul Urquijo Alijo? I don't know.
Yeah. And he's young. Like, he's barely 40. He was like in his early 30s at the time that he made this movie. So good on you, Paul. Keep going.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, like Basque is only spoken by about 800,000 something people.
That's cool.
So,
aside from The Devil and the Blacksmith, he also did a movie in 2022 called Irati. That's probably not right. That's an epic fantasy adventure film.
Ooh.
That's probably up your alley. Veronica loves fantasy's her jam. Yes. So yeah, I'm not sure where that one is. Yeah, it looks cool. Epic fantasy adventure film. Arati.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we can move on and go into wrapping things up. So the thing we wanted to talk about in second segment, guys, is we want to announce our next book club pick. So don't watch at night. Like we said up top, we cover a lot of Spanish language horror and Latin American horror. We do primarily we're a film podcast, but we also have a book club going. And so periodically we select a book, we talk about it on the show, we read it, we invite you to read it along with us, and then we have a book club discussion episode. So throughout the year, we have multiple book club episodes. And so we just put out a book club episode, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe, on Extended Stay by Juan Martinez. Why did I say it like that? Juan Martinez. If you haven't read that book, you should read it. We had a super fun episode with our friend Perla Caballero on to talk with us about the book. If you haven't, Hi, Perla. If you haven't read the book, don't listen to the episode unless you know that there's going to be a lot of spoilers. We talk about the books in full. So spoilers galore on our book club episodes. But you should read the book. It is a really good read. This next read we're doing is Fever Dream by Samantha. What did we say? Say it again?
Schweblin.
So the book is called Fever Dream. It's posted on our website as well over at don'twatchitnight.com. I had to think about the name of our show. Let me read to you a little bit about what that book's about. So here's a little bit about it. A young woman named Amanda lies dying in a rural hospital clinic. A boy named David sits beside her. She's not his mother. He's not her child. Together, they tell a haunting story of broken souls, toxins, and the power and desperation of family. Fever Dream is a nightmare come to life, a ghost story for the real world, a love story, and a cautionary tale. One of the freshest new voices to come out of the Spanish language and translated into English for the first time, Samantha Schweblin creates an aura of strange psychological menace and otherworldly reality in this absorbing, unsettling, taut novel. So yeah.
What country does that come out of? Does it say?
I looked this up recently. Argentina. She's from Argentina. She's currently based in Berlin, Germany. So yeah. I didn't see if this is like her first. Did I just read that?
I think you said debut. Didn't you say debut novel?
Well, I don't know. No, I didn't say debut novel. I don't know about that, but I think this might be her first translated
work.
Work. So I'm excited to read it. It's been out for a while, and I've seen it flying all over Instagram, bookstagram, whatever. So, and I've been wanting to read this one. So I'm excited to give it a go. But yes, we invite you to read it along with us and share your thoughts on what you thought of the book. We'd love to talk about that stuff on the show. We have a Patreon, and we're going to link that in show notes as well, so that you can join the Patreon and be part of book discussion there. We do a lot of fun stuff. We do video episodes. We do creepy cocktail hour. Watch parties are going to be on our docket. Obviously, more live streams and book club stuff. We do a book club cocktail pairing for every episode, and we always release that information to you guys so you can be part of it with us. And I think that's it. I don't know if I had anything else that I needed to mention. The only other thing I wanted to also pitch is I wanted to encourage you guys to drop us a review if you can. It really does help other people find us. So you can subscribe to Don't Watch at Night on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. This live stream is available up at YouTube right now, public, which was not my intention, but there you go. There you go, world. So you're getting this episode early. This is what we are recording right now is going to be our episode that'll post on Spotify and Apple. It'll be a condensed version of this. We'll post on those places February 17th. So you're getting the episode early. Yay, you for being part of the early crew. But yeah, going forward, not all of our live streams will be public. Some of them will be just for our Patreon folks. So it really does benefit you. If you liked this, if you had fun with us today, it really does benefit you to go and join Patreon so that you always have those access links. Did you have anything that you needed to say, Ron, before we release everyone to go to Super Bowl Sunday mayhem?
No, I also watched the other day. What's it called? The Dead Don't Stay Dead, or The Dead Don't Die.
Yeah. The Dead Don't Die. The Dead. What is it called? Bill Murray?
Yeah, and Adam Driver.
What'd you think of it?
Did you see it?
I did, yeah. The Dead Don't.
As a zombie movie, yeah, as a zombie movie, it's like, it's gonna be not for everybody. You know, I'm not even sure it was for me.
Very dry humor.
Deadpan. You know, very much a critique on, you know, climate change and
a lot of people in that movie. It's full of stars.
Like Carol Kane. Hello, like I was gonna say she has only said 2, maybe 3 words, but it was the same word, just like 2 or 3 times. Like that's all she says. Chardonnay. That's her one line. So I mean, she's on the scene for like maybe 20 seconds.
Right. Tilda Swinton is in that movie playing precisely the kind of character Tilda Swinton would play. And Adam Driver in that movie cracks me up. He's just like, Bill Murray's like, "What do you think it is?" He's like, "I think it's ghoul." But he like his deadpan delivery is so hilarious.
Yeah.
Selena
Uh,
Gomez is in that movie just to die. Like it's just
Austin Butler, which
Austin Butler.
maybe that was before he became as well known as he became. But
Right. Yeah.
um,
It's not for everybody, but
yeah.
if you're into dry kind of what is it? Royal Tenenbaums kind of humor, it's
Mm.
it's it's that vein. It was and the ending is so like, well, that feels hopeless. So
Well, but they kept telling, or Adam Driver kept saying, it's not going to end well. It's not going
it's
to.
not gonna
So,
end well.
if you were, so he
Yeah.
warned you, it's
So
not going
yeah.
to end well.
It's on that one's on Netflix too, right?
Yeah.
Or it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it yet, maybe give that one a go. Um Alex watched that one with me and he's not real big on horror, but yeah, he watched it.
Yeah, because
Um
it wasn't, again, not scary for a zombie movie. It was more satire, I would say, than
mhm,
like true zombie horror.
yeah.
So not scary at all. So if you know people that are,
Not even particularly graphic,
mm-mm,
really.
no,
What's her name? Chloe
Savini,
Savini.
I don't know how she says her name.
Her character, who's just like she cannot handle it. She's just like, I'm done. When she leaves the car, I'm like, what are you doing, ma'am? Like, why? Why would you like? I understand you're like
Like
losing it,
you
but
have a rifle. There's quicker way, like, getting eaten
right.
alive. That's the way you choose to go
It's like
out. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's just like if you're
use your gun.
done
It's
and you want to clock
instantaneous.
out, I hear ya. You use the weapon right next to you.
Yeah, instantaneous death, not this prolonged. Like in the diner scene, when the first two, I don't know how if you remember this, but the first two zombies that emerged,
Coffee.
yeah, coffee, and like you can hear that one lady just like groaning in the background throughout the whole scene, and I'm like, oh my god, just die already, poor thing. It's like, just die already.
I think okay. So we do have some comments in the chat just saying like, yeah, all about that dry humor. Definitely, it. I think I would find it even more funny now watching it a second time because the first time you watch it, you're just trying to figure out what this is, and you're
Well,
like,
I was
what is this?
expecting a zombie movie,
Well,
and that
and it's
wasn't
just
quite
like
what it was.
one,
Yeah,
and you're just like, It's like it's barely approaching the humor, but you really have to I don't know, like, I was just trying to figure out what it was. Now that I know what it is, I could go back and I would probably be laughing my
yeah.
butt off because it was funny. So and yeah, there are some moments that are just funnier, like Chardonnay, that was funny when
Oh,
Til when Tilda Swinton is like I don't want to give spoilers because obviously it sounds like there are people who haven't seen it yet, but when Tilda Swinton's character is sort of revealed to be what she is, I was just like, well, of course that adds up.
I was like, what the hell? When the thing appears, and I'm like, what the hell? I think was my response. But
But I
yeah.
kind of didn't want her to go. I'm like, but you could be like, no, that was our last hope.
Well, and I think that was kind of the point. It's like no one's gonna save us. If we
Right.
don't save ourselves, no one's
Yeah.
gonna save us.
Yeah. So yeah, good. All right. Well, I don't have anything else that I needed to cover.
No.
Unless there's anything else you needed to talk about. So yes, read this book with us. Join us over on Patreon. But even if you aren't necessarily up for, maybe you're not into Patreon, that's fine. Just know that our book club discussion episode for Fever Dream will be end of April. It probably should have been end of March, but we did not have our ducks in a row. So we're giving it till end of April. We want to give plenty of time for people to get the book, do the reading, and be ready for book club episode. So, and that's it. You have anything else?
No, ma'am, that is it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us on this first live stream. We will get better at it.
Maybe, probably.
The first few like 10 minutes of me trying to figure out what I did wrong, you can just skip past that and get to the good stuff. So, but thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
All right, bye.
All right. So, okay, live stream is out, so we're good. And
You're
yeah,
sure?
it's yeah, it lets me know when